The house is quiet now. Too quiet. My wife passed 3 years ago. The kids visit once a month if I'm lucky, sometimes less. I am 87 years old, and I've learned something nobody warned me about. Everyone says the same thing. Just stay healthy, exercise, eat right, take your medications. As if a strong body is all you need to survive your 80s. But that's a lie. I've met people in their 80s with perfect blood pressure, perfect cholesterol, perfect everything. And they're miserable, lonely, forgotten, waiting to die. I've also met people whose bodies are falling apart. Medications everywhere. Can't walk without a cane. And they're thriving, laughing, surrounded by love. Living in the past, worrying about the future, you fail to live in the present. That's what I've learned at 87. At 89, someone once told me what they want on their gravestone. Be kind, do good, and be loyal. And they try every day. That stuck with me. Because at this age, being physically healthy means almost nothing if you're emotionally dying inside. The silence in this house taught me that. If you're younger than me, listen closely, because one day you'll be sitting where I am. If you're my age, you already know what I'm talking about. Before I leave this world, I need to tell you 5 truths about life after 80. They're not what you'd expect. They have nothing to do with kale smoothies or morning walks. They're about the things that actually matter when you're running out of time. The things nobody talks about because they're uncomfortable, inconvenient, sometimes painful. But they're real. And if you understand them now, whether you're 50, 60, 70, or already 80, you might just save yourself years of suffering. Hit that like button and subscribe if you want the truth about aging. Not the sanitized version, the real one. Let's begin. Let me tell you about Margaret. She's 82, lives in Phoenix. Every morning, she wakes up at 6 a.m., takes her vitamins, walks 30 minutes, eats her oatmeal. Her doctor says she's a model patient. Perfect blood pressure, perfect cholesterol, perfect A1C. But when I visited her last month, she was crying in her kitchen. "What's the point?" she said. Her husband died 2 years ago. Her kids live across the country. They call once a week if she's lucky. She's physically perfect and emotionally broken. Now let me tell you about William. He's 84, lives in Denver. His knees are shot. His back hurts. He takes 6 medications every morning. His doctor says he needs to manage his conditions better. But William doesn't care. Every Tuesday, he drives to the senior center, plays cards with his friends, laughs until his stomach hurts. His daughter lives next door. She stops by every afternoon. His body is falling apart, and he's the happiest person I know. Here's what nobody tells you about turning 80. Your body will decline, that's inevitable. But your spirit? That's a choice. When I was younger, 80 seemed so far away. Now I'm 82, and time didn't just fly, it accelerated. My strength is gone. What's growing? Wrinkles and pill bottles. But I'll keep fighting while I'm still here. That's the spirit you need. The happiest people I know at 80 aren't the healthiest. They're the ones who built relationships, who stayed connected, who found purpose beyond their blood tests. Physical health matters. Of course it does. But at 80, emotional health is everything. Because you can have a strong body and a broken heart. And I promise you, the broken heart will kill you faster. This one is hard to hear, but it's true. I've lived this way my whole life. Not because of some theory. I just believe that when it's time to go, it's time to go. And until that time comes, the person next to you matters most. Let me explain. There's a man I know. Let's call him Robert. He's 78, lives in Seattle. His wife passed away 5 years ago. He was devastated. Last year, he told his children he wanted to remarry. He'd met a woman at the senior center. Kind, caring, made him laugh again. His children said no. "Dad, you're too old for this. What if she's after your money? What about our inheritance?" So Robert stayed alone, to keep the peace. Now he sits in his house, waiting for his children to visit. They come once every few months. He's lonely, depressed. His health is declining. But his children? They're busy, lives to live, jobs to work. Compare that to Helen. She's 76, lives in Portland. When her husband died, she also wanted to remarry. Her children said the same thing. Don't do it. But Helen didn't listen. She married a man she met at church. He's 79. They travel together, cook together, laugh together. Her children were upset at first, but now they see how happy she is. And here's the truth. Your children love you, but they have their own lives. Your spouse, your partner, they're there every single day. When you're sick, they're the ones holding your hand, not your children who live 3 states away. When you're lonely at 3 a.m., they're the ones you talk to, not your children who are asleep in their own homes. I don't care if you have money or not. If you find someone who makes you happy in your 80s, hold on to them. Because loyalty, kindness, doing good, that matters more than any inheritance. Your children will survive without your money. But can you survive without companionship? That's the question you need to ask. Dorothy is 81, lives in Portland. 2 years ago, her children convinced her to stop driving. "Mom, you're too old. It's dangerous. What if you get into an accident?" So she gave up her license. And you know what happened? She stopped leaving the house. No more trips to the library. No more coffee with friends. No more independence. Within 6 months, she could barely remember what day it was. Her children panicked. Is it dementia? No, it wasn't dementia. It was isolation, boredom, a lack of purpose. Here's what people don't understand. When you stop doing what you can, your brain stops working. Yes, there are risks. Driving at 80 is riskier than driving at 40. But you know what's riskier? Sitting in a chair all day, losing your independence, giving up. Now let me tell you about Frank. He's 83, lives in Chicago. He still drives, still goes to the gym 3 times a week, still takes online classes about history. His children worry. "Dad, what if you fall at the gym? What if you crash your car?" Frank's response? "Then I fall, then I crash. But I'd rather die doing something than waste away doing nothing." And you know what? Frank is sharp, energetic, alive. The lesson here is simple. Don't let age be an excuse to stop living. Can you still drive safely? Drive. Can you still walk? Walk. Can you still learn? Learn. The moment you stop, your body and mind start shutting down. I've seen it happen over and over. People retire, stop working, stop moving, stop thinking. And within a year, they're gone. Not because of old age, because they gave up. So keep doing what you can, even if it's risky, even if people judge you. Because a life lived is better than a life wasted. Now here's the flip side. Don't force yourself to do things that make you miserable. For decades we've been told, cut salt, avoid sugar, limit fat, exercise every day. That's good advice when you're 40, maybe even 60. But at 87, it's nonsense. Let me tell you about Barbara. She's 79, lives in Atlanta. Her doctor told her to restrict salt, lower her cholesterol, exercise for an hour every day. So she did. She ate bland food she hated. She forced herself to walk even when her knees screamed in pain. She took 5 different medications. And you know what? She was miserable. Her doctor said her numbers looked great, but Barbara felt terrible. Then she met a different doctor, someone who actually listened. "Barbara," he said, "you're 79 years old. If you want to eat salt, eat salt. If walking hurts, stop walking. Your body knows what it needs." So Barbara started eating what she wanted. She stopped forcing exercise. She cut her medications in half. And guess what happened? She felt better, happier, more alive. Her numbers went up. Her cholesterol increased. Her blood pressure rose slightly. But she didn't care, because she was living again. Here's the truth they don't tell you. At 80, your body's needs change. You might need more salt because your kidneys don't retain sodium like they used to. You might need to eat more because your body struggles to absorb nutrients. Forcing yourself to live by the rules of a 40-year-old will kill you faster than bad cholesterol ever could. So eat what your body craves. Rest when you're tired. Stop when it hurts. Your body has kept you alive for 80+ years. Trust it. This is the big one. At 87, I've learned that medical tests can lie, but your body never does. Let me tell you about Charles. He's 86, lives in Boston. Last year, his doctor found a small tumor during a routine checkup. "We need to operate immediately," the doctor said. Charles asked, "Do I feel sick?" "No," the doctor admitted, "but the tumor could grow." So Charles had surgery. The tumor was removed. Success, right? Wrong. The surgery took everything out of him. He couldn't walk for months. His energy never came back. He went from independent to bedridden, all because of a tumor that wasn't even causing symptoms. Now compare that to Helen. She's 82, lives in Miami. Her doctor found something similar, a small mass, nothing urgent. But Helen said no to surgery. "I feel fine," she said. "If it starts hurting, we'll talk. But I'm not cutting myself open for something that's not bothering me." Her children were furious. "Mom, you're being reckless." But Helen stuck to her decision. That was 3 years ago. She's still alive, still active, still happy. The mass hasn't grown. She monitors it. But she's not letting it control her life. Here's what I've learned. Doctors look at numbers. They see a test result and panic. But at 80, aggressive treatment can do more harm than good. Your body can't recover like it used to. Surgery that would heal in weeks at 40 takes months at 80. Sometimes it never heals. So before you agree to any procedure, ask yourself, do I feel sick? Is this worth the recovery time? Will this actually improve my quality of life, or just extend my suffering? I'm not saying ignore your health. I'm saying don't let test results dictate your every move. Your body will tell you when something is wrong. Listen to it. And if a doctor pushes treatment you don't want, find a different doctor. Because at 87, quality of life matters more than quantity. I'd rather have 1 good year than 10 miserable ones. Before I go, there are 3 more things you need to know. These aren't truths like the 5 I just shared. These are lessons I learned the hard way, mistakes I made, regrets I carry. If you remember nothing else from this video, remember these 3 pieces of advice. Here's something uncomfortable. If you have money, don't save it all for your children. Spend it on yourself. I know that sounds selfish, but hear me out. I've seen this pattern over and over. A parent scrapes and saves their whole life, lives modestly, denies themselves comfort, all to leave a big inheritance. Then they die. And what happens? The children fight. Siblings who were close suddenly become strangers. Arguments over who gets the house, who gets the car, who gets mom's jewelry. I've watched families destroy themselves over $50,000. Meanwhile, the parent who saved all that money? They spent their final years alone, in a cheap nursing home, eating terrible food, because they didn't want to waste their savings. That's insane. Let me tell you about Thomas. He's 88, lives in Dallas. He had about $200,000 saved. His plan was to leave it to his 2 children. But at 85, he got sick, needed round-the-clock care. His children said, "Dad, don't waste your money on expensive care. We'll figure something out." Translation, save that money for us. So Thomas went to a cheap facility, shared a room, terrible food, minimal care. He died miserable, left $180,000 to his kids. And guess what? They're not speaking to each other anymore. Fought over the money. Compare that to Ruth. She's 83, lives in San Francisco. She had about the same amount saved, but she made a different choice. She hired a private caregiver, someone to live with her, cook for her, keep her company. It cost $5,000 a month. Her children were furious. "Mom, that's our inheritance." Ruth's response? "No, it's my money. I earned it. I'll spend it." Now Ruth lives in her own home, eats what she wants, has someone to talk to every day. Is she spending her children's inheritance? Sure, but she's happy, comfortable, dignified. And when she's gone, her children will inherit whatever's left. And maybe they'll appreciate the example she set. Take care of yourself first. Because here's the truth. Your children don't need your money as much as you need comfort in your final years. They'll figure it out. They always do. But you only get one chance to live these final years with dignity. Don't throw that away to leave money to people who might just fight over it anyway. At 87, I don't have time for people who drain me. And neither should you. There's this idea that at 80, you should be grateful for any company, any phone call, any visit. But that's garbage. Some people make you feel worse after you see them. They complain, they criticize, they take and never give. Cut them loose. I don't care if it's a sibling, a cousin, an old friend. If seeing them leaves you exhausted and sad, stop seeing them. One woman I know, let's call her Joyce. She's 81. Her sister calls her every week. And every week, it's the same thing. Complaints, drama, demands. Joyce dreads those calls. I asked her, "Why do you answer?" She said, "She's my sister. I have to." No, you don't. At 81, you've earned the right to protect your peace. So Joyce stopped answering. Her sister was upset. Other family members judged her. But Joyce? She felt lighter, freer, happier. On the other hand, keep the people who lift you up. Even if you only have 2 or 3 real friends left, that's enough. Quality over quantity. At this age, every interaction matters. Make sure it's worth your time. Here's my favorite piece of advice. Be a bad senior. What does that mean? Stop being so nice all the time. Stop saying yes when you mean no. Stop worrying about what people think. For your whole life, you've been polite, accommodating. You've put others first. And that's admirable. It really is. But at 87, I'm done with that. If I don't want to go to a family gathering, I don't go. If I don't want to eat vegetables, I don't eat them. If I want to sleep until noon, I sleep until noon. And when people judge me, I laugh. He's becoming difficult, they say. Good. Let them think that. Because here's what I've realized. People who call you difficult are usually upset that you stop doing what they want. At 80, you've earned the right to be a little selfish. a little stubborn, a little bad. One man I know, George, 84, he stopped going to church. His family was horrified. "George, you've gone to church for 60 years. George's response? "Exactly. I've done my time. Now I'd rather sleep in." They called him a bad senior. He called himself free. So go ahead, be bad. Eat dessert first. Skip the family reunion. Say what you really think. You've spent decades being good. Now it's time to live for yourself. So there you have it. 5 truths about life after 80 that nobody tells you. And 3 final pieces of advice before I leave. Physical health isn't everything. Your spouse matters more than your kids. Keep doing what you can. Stop forcing yourself. Trust your body, not just tests. Don't save all your money for your children. Cut toxic relationships. Be a bad senior. These lessons took me 87 years to learn. I wish someone had told me sooner. But now I'm telling you. Whether you're 50, 60, 70, or already in your 80s, it's not too late. You can still choose how you live. You can still find joy. You can still matter. Don't waste your time worrying about the past or fearing the future. Live in the present. Be kind. Do good. Be loyal. That's what I want people to remember about me. Not my cholesterol numbers, not how long I lived, but how I treated people, how I loved, how I showed up. Because in the end, that's all that matters. If this video spoke to you, please subscribe. Share it with someone who needs to hear it. And leave a comment. Tell me, what's one thing you've learned as you've gotten older? I read every single one. It makes this quiet house feel a little less lonely. Thank you for sitting with me today. Before I leave this world, I wanted to make sure you heard this.